All right, so let's talk about definition of ready and definition of done. So when you ask this definition of ready, definition of done, do you want this for interview purpose or just the definition?
But
Ah, which can wahala. So you get one both definition of ready and definition of done, right? All right. So let's first talk about definition of done, right? And we all know definition of done, that's something that's very well described. Where is definition of done very well described? Let me see if you all are focused. We're talking about definition of ready and definition of done.
and the user story.
User story? A. Definition of
I love it.
So the definition of ready and definition of done, where is it very well documented and very well described? You guys still online so you can actually use the comments. Team
The
chatter?
hacker.
Yeah, you're right, Cowderly. They put it in team chatter. But before that, where did you even learn about it?
In the Scrum Guide.
Scrum Guide! Yes, the Scrum Guide. So for anyone that's struggling around definition of ready, definition of done, or what definition of ready is, or definition of done more, it's all about. The Scrum Guide did a wonderful job describing the different scenario of how or where you will see definition of done. What are the two ways the Scrum Guide describe how definition of done is used? Yes, someone says Scrum Guide. Yes, obviously right, Scrum Guide. What are some ways is it identified? Because this I've actually worked for a company where both have been used. Anyone remember? Definition of done? Definition of ready? All right. So there is two
Okay.
ways. Oh, you wanna go?
Okay, I want to go.
Go ahead. Tell me.
One way for definition of done is when it can deliver value at the end of the increment at any time.
Yeah, but how is it used though? It's not about what it is or what's not. Maybe you guys still online. If you know, you can use the chat and tell me. So in the Scrum Guide, it described the definition of done in two different ways. How you might see it in an organization, right? One of them being that it's written by the organization itself, whereby they have one set rule of definition of done where every Scrum team must follow. So that's one way they have it. Another way too is which is the most popular is the Scrum team themselves craft and create their own definition of done based on the product or the feature they are working on. So I've worked for a company where we've done both, right? Whereby, yes, Binta, you're right, by a Scrum team. So I work for a company whereby we've done both, right? So that company I worked for, my first time actually is my the only company so I've ever seen it that way, whereby they wrote the definition of done like this big detailed document. It's like almost 5 pages, typed detailed document calling it definition of done, and all of us in that department, in that IT department, we almost follow that list of 5 documents of definition of done. And when I was new and I joined and I looked at I was okay. I was asking the team, do we have definition of done? They're like, oh yeah, we have it somewhere. I was like, what do you mean we have it somewhere? It's not in your it's not in your working agreement. Oh no. Our PMO office, they created one for the whole IT department. I was okay, I would like to see it. None of the team even could find it. So that's why it's another reason why I think it's not a good idea for a company or a leadership team to be writing something that the team have no relation or connection to, right? Nobody even knew about that list. So I was there fishing around until I went and met the agile coach there. And I was like, oh, I really would like to see the definition of done. I really want to know what's in there, right? And then they sent me this list. I was like, all of this list for one definition of done? How can the team follow all of this? So I was looking at it, I was like, oh wow, this is just too much. I can see why the team had no interest in it. They're just doing their own thing, right? And to be honest, we don't go back and look at that list and say, okay, check mark, we've done this, check mark, we've done this. We always use our sprint review as a place to tell us like, oh yes, this work is done, or no, this work is not done. the sprint review, and going back from there, we're able to come up with our goal and also ask them how I done look like. And we use that technique, and that's what helped us over that one shoe fits all for the whole company, right? But for most of my experience, though, what I've seen the definition of done is the one that the team will come together through the early stage of team formation, where they will create the definition of done, and they will continue to readjust and realign as more is learned about the product, or as more anything that's changed or adjust, we go back to readjust the definition of done based on the future we're working on or the solution. And that's actually the best way. So when you go to a Scrum Master interview and they're asking you about definition of done, always just describe it on how you've experienced it, right? And how I always will answer this in an interview is to, oh, in my company, when it comes to definition of done, we all come together as a team based on the solution we're trying to build. We come together and agree on the definition of done. And as a Scrum Master, what I do is to help facilitate that discussion. I help facilitate that discussion. I do team building exercise prior just to get the team to open up and warm up. And I'll use powerful questions and ask the team on what does done look like. And sometimes too, when team are new to agile, it is very difficult for them to even know the definition of done. So what I always will start with is the workflow, right? The workflow, the steps in their workflow that they are going, and what are the dependency in place, because those all have to be checked out too. Okay, who else are we going to be relied on? All of those can be looked at, and that will now determine how our overall definition of done will look like. And based on the future you're working on, you might even be working on a project that's not even like a tangible product, right? It might just be like it's just like a team. You are collaboratively working together. If that's the case too, your definition of done should always align with what you have in your Jira workflow, right? And everybody else in the team too have to know this is our definition of done. And the stakeholder too, right? Later on, as you have it done and you read it, right, it's written down, then the stakeholder should also know that, okay, this is what done look like. And that's very, very important, you know? So that's definition of done. And for definition of ready, and most of the time, I did not see any big organization coming up with a definition of ready checklist. That's something that I see that the Scrum Master drives a lot when it comes to definition of ready. They come together and write and collaborate with the team and put on the list of criterias they have to meet before pulling stories to the sprint backlog. And that's where the popular invest criteria comes in place, right? Where you have to ensure the story is already been refined, have been discussed, dependency have been identified, and doesn't have any blockers. And also, it's also part of the prioritized stories that need to be delivered for that particular sprint. And also, alignment between the team, the stakeholder, and the business all align and agree on that's the next story to be worked on. And dependency have been removed before we now pull that story to the sprint. So sometimes people confuse with the two. They just see definition ready as when you're cooking your meal, right? So all those prep you do prior to you start to cook, that's the definition of ready. You go into the market to buy your vegetables. You go into the market to buy your vegetables. You go into the market to ensure that you have your kerosene or you have your lights. Like you have enough gas to cook your meal, right? You ensure that you have water to cook your meal, right? You're ensuring you have all your ingredients available before you start to cook. That's the definition of ready. And the definition of done is the steps you take in preparing the meal, right? You first add water in your pot, you might put oil, you might mix your stew, your assorted meats if you have all of those. You mix all those steps you do, and until the end, you have your very good soup. And that soup that you have at the end, that's your PSI, which is potential shippable increment, right? That soup you get at the end, that's the increment of value. You know, will someone eat it? Okay, well, is it possible to be eaten, right? If that's the case, then you already have your increment. Your increment is born. So that's how I use both, and I think all of that actually makes so much sense for me. The preparation you do before you start to cook your meal, and at the end, what you get out of that meal is your increment.
So where is it stored?
So actually,
Good question.
so if I want to describe it as a chef now, so I can say the ingredients are the definition of ready. So you need salt, you need whatever if you want to prepare
Things
the
you
batter.
need to cook your
Yeah,
soup
things you need. And then now definition of done now is the process now cooking a batter.
and getting it done.
So from one step to another till when it's ready,
Yeah.
ready now to be served. And
Yeah.
then now from there, if the customer, whatever taste it, if the customer wanted some pepper on it, then you can add pepper or salt.
Exactly. Based on their uniqueness. After your
Yeah,
feedback.
after the feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may even cook your stew. They'll be like, oh, this is not what we wanted. Oops, what happened? You wasted and start over, right? That's what Ajay say. Or they'll be like, oh, it tastes good, but it tastes better if you add little salt. Then you go back for that next sprint and add little salt. They're like, okay, how was it now?
Good understanding now that I'll never forget.
You never forget. Oh, that's nice. So it's just telling you the hope. I like to use food and cooking a lot to sometimes when it comes to describing this definition of ready, definition of done. For me, that helped me a lot when I was new, and it just made me like put one or two things together. Because remember, you can't say you want to cook your meat stew and you don't have meat. People be looking at you like, what? You're calling this meat stew and you don't have meat? So things that you do to make sure you get everything you need before you start to cook. That process is the definition of ready. And the steps of you like steaming your meat, frying your meat, that's one part of the definition of done. You adding tomato sauce, that's another part of your definition of done. Adding water, adding oil. Those are all the steps you take it to make that soup. And at the end, the stew, it's now say, yes, that's done. And
So
this
definition of ready could be, I love the way you put it. So definition of ready could be us looking at the product backlog,
Yes.
reviewing the product backlog,
yes.
prioritizing product backlog, and
Changing
then doing
things.
sprint planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the definition of ready.
Because definition of ready is seen as if things are not ready, we cannot pull it to the sprint backlog. Because why is that? Why we can't pull stories that are not ready to the sprint backlog? Why we cannot do that?
Like example, just a checklist, just like a pilot before the plane take off.
Exactly.
Say you check if they like this, check,
Yeah.
check on
We can't.
everything.
We cannot pull it in because when we do pull it in, what's going to happen? We're going to be blocked. We'll be blocked, then we can't move that story to done, right? And sometimes the backlog refinement is a very good place where we have all this conversation, right? Because sometimes you might have an initial thought of making stew, or you want to make a meat sauce, right? And you go to the market, you didn't get a meat. What happened? You come back and negotiate with your couple or someone in the house. Like, oh, you told me you wanted a meat sauce, but guess what? There is no meat in the market. Would you want fish or would you want chicken? So that who do you go there to do that with? Stakeholders, right? You go to the stakeholder. Oh, you wanted this, but at this time we are unable to deliver this. But in the meantime, this is what we can do. Or what would you want to substitute this for? And that's how you can see they say that the invest criteria, they have N, which means negotiation, right? And that negotiation, that's what happens with the technical team negotiating with the product owner. Like, oh, you want us to do this work, but by the way, this is not possible. We can't do this. What about this instead? Because why? The technical people will know. Because why? They are the one doing the build. The PO can always come with the what, right? What to build. And the other people know how to build it. And we ensure that it's actually built. So it's very, very important you understand this concept. That's why that conversation is very, very important. Because through that conversation, you will know what's actually ready. And if it's not ready, but sometimes too, you might have a story, they'll be like, oh, that's priority, that's important. We have to put it in the sprint, but we plan to learn more during the duration of the sprint. And that's still okay. But sometimes you might not even fully know, especially for a new project that you'll be working on. You're going to learn more as you start to work on it and you start to deliver it. You'll learn more. And that's still okay also. Right?
Yeah. So what I think about referring back to what you were saying, even
Yeah, you're
working
right, Binta.
working with the product owner, working with stakeholders. Sometimes as a scrum master, you might even be involved in supporting the product owner, collecting the requirement, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Gathering the
yeah.
requirement, having your meeting with the stakeholder, working with the product owner. Again, going back to refining the product
Yep,
backlog,
refinements.
prioritizing it, planning your a sprint, working with the dev team, and ensuring that the dev team understands what is expected of them, what are the stories, and do they understand that. So all of that, all of those meetings and all of those activities are definition of ready.
Yes, all of that. All those things you do behind the scene, all those legwork you do, trying to unblock an item, removing those dependency or connecting with other team, aligning with others, doing all those different things is just to ensure that you actually have a story that's ready, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't have all those things ready, it will be difficult for you to actually smoothly work on that task in the duration of the sprint. So that's why that pre-work is important.
So definition of complete now, then.
What is definition
going
of
back
complete?
to
Where you
some
get
of
your
your- Huh?
what you call it definition of complete? I can't.
Complete. What is it called again?
I can't. The project management in you, right?
You mean definition of done or
Done. Ugh. Gosh.
Of
So you
course,
guys
she
say
meant
A,
definition
you
of
say
done.
no.
I think it's a project management background.
Right. So definition of done is like ensuring that when we do like sprint reviews and ensuring that
So definition
they're
of done
accepted.
is before even sprint review, right?
okay?
It's the process.
Project management is a process. It's a long document. What do we call it? SOP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Statement of work.
SOP, project management. That's what we call SOP. You show the process, how to manufacture a process or how to produce a process. You start from raw materials, for example, if it's in manufacturing, raw materials, and then how you going to take from this part, all the parts that are required, and then show you the process, how to start building different parts together until the whole functionality is
Done.
completed.
So that's why when it comes to definition of done, right? The first way for people that are new, sometimes I want to get them to even understand this, right, is to look at a well-written user story, right? So even you look at a well-written user story, it should have what? It sh- huh?
You should have the definition of ready.
How many times you want to be ready?
Oh, you talking? What? I'm
A
sorry.
user story, thinking about user story, right? What should a user story have? Maybe people online might know.
The user story should have a certain criteria.
There you go, acceptance criteria, right? So if you look at that acceptance criteria, what another way you think of when you look at that acceptance criteria?
When that is met, that means that
It's met. That's the same thing as done,
yeah.
right? Because it gives you the who, what, and why, and then at the end it lists the criteria that user story must be met before we consider story done. So that's why one of the criteria for definition of done is that acceptance criteria have been met. That's one aspect. If they're also doing like the end-to-end testing, right? Like the unit testing have been completed by the development team, right? Pair programming, if needed, because if we're heavy on quality, we want to do like the pair programming, should be completed before it moves to the done column, right? Product owner have reviewed it and ensured that it met one of the acceptance criteria. Can be also be another criteria for definition of done, right? Testing have been completed. If some people they want like some stakeholders to approve it, but for the most part you don't even have stakeholder in that end, right? Important documentation needed have been documented. Security if needed.
How about user acceptance testing?
It depends, right? Some company they do UAT, which is user acceptance testing, but some team too they don't do it. They feel like if the shortness of your sprint And the continuous feedback loop you give with the stakeholder, that's enough to ensure that it's actually working. Because why? You are releasing frequently. But for people that are doing projects that they release once a year or twice a year, like in the traditional method, and that's where the user acceptance testing is much more utilized in that area than some agile team.
You know what though, Aisha? Like on one of my previous projects, like as after when before we complete each sprint, like it has to be reviewed by the stakeholder. So in
Yeah,
Jira, we would put it under review by stakeholder
yeah,
column,
that's good.
and the stakeholder will would review it and test it. And in other word, that's just user accepted testing, right?
Yeah, you're right. If looking at it in that point of view, it's because sometimes user acceptance testing I've seen is where they'll have two or three people use it, right? And those two people will not give their feedback, and that will determine if they will move it to go no go, right? But in the agile space, we have our stakeholder involved throughout the development process, right? We have them even sometimes in our backlog refinement, we have them in our engagement meeting, and we also have them at the end of each sprint, like delivering things to them, and sometimes to the team demo what they did because they can see it too, right? Right? They can
Yeah.
show it and they will see it, what was done, what's not, and that feedback they will not get, they will not use to readjust. But it's not always that they have to give it to some random people that they don't know and do the user acceptance testing and wait for like a couple of weeks, and then later on they will bring it, and that will slow the whole process down, even slow the whole
Yeah.
closure of
No.
the sprint. That's why not all agile teams that will do user acceptance testing. Instead, they will focus heavily on quality delivery from the get-go, doing like pair programming, doing like swarming, and at the same time too, getting the testers involved from the early case. Like the test cases being written also aligns, the developer will see those test cases and build their code around that, just to help ensure they are reducing the bugs or any of those issues. So, but you're right, you might still see a lot of user acceptance testing in a traditional method, right? And I'm sure that's what you're talking about, because you also I'm sure your team do that. Your team do UAT.
Yeah, no, the stakeholder would do that. The stakeholder would
The
do
one
that. They call
stakeholder,
it, I call it UAT, but it's because of my
the waterfall background. Mm-hmm.
experience. But in my Scrum experience in Agile, they called it stakeholder review. Like we would put it under stakeholder review and Jira, and then the stakeholder will only have 1 day for that.
Oh, then that's good. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Another way
There's
too.
many of them, right? There are many stakeholders that would look at the before we complete the sprint. So they have like 1 day or 2 day, like they would 2 days before the sprint ends or something like that. They would have to review it and then give feedback. That way we can package it within that sprint.
Do you guys do sprint review then also, or just that review is enough?
No, that just that review.
That review then. Okay, I guess they substitute that. I guess they substitute that for the sprint review. But you're right. Well, then what you are doing is not user acceptance testing. Because I've been part of this waterfall project that they will gather all this development work that was done and when it went through testing and everything, and will now send it to these 3 or 4 users. It might take like weeks.
Oh, yeah.
We might take
that is
weeks.
waterfall.
That is waterfall. So it might take weeks before we even get it back. And they wanted a Scrum embedded with that. I just told them, right? I was like, no way. There is no way we can be sending random things to these random people and wait for almost 3 weeks to get it back and claim that we are doing agile. That's not agile. Let's just, since you guys want to have the title of agile, let's just do Kanban.
Yeah, no, that's waterfall. One of my projects, I actually used to like I was a project coordinator and I would do like the user acceptance testing part of it. That was one of my tasks, and we take 1 week where I
That's
set
a
up
long
a
time.
lab with 25 users. They have like a pile of like folders of test scripts that they go through in order to test the tool, and I support them throughout the day for 5 days doing user acceptance
Oh
testing.
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And you know why that takes so long? Do you know why it takes so long?
Because it's not agile. It's not. They're not really sprint.
Yeah, but what does those waterfall team do that makes everything so long? What do they do?
Oh, they just they don't do incremental.
Exactly.
improvements.
They don't do any increment. They pack everything like sandwich, right? They have to take like couple of months to do all this development and be packing it and pack it. And after that, they'll let go of the developers and hire another contractors of testers. They'll come in for another month, do only testing. They'll start finding all these bugs.
That's a disaster.
Oh my god, I experienced that. I was like, wow, this is a mess, you know. But it's crazy. All right, so everyone understand definition of ready and definition of down now. We can go to interview question. Any question anyone have around definition of ready, definition of done, the understanding of it, or anything? No, everyone good? I have very smart people online too that have been giving very good answers. Some say let them know that this can be done in the backlog refinement and also cross-check in the sprint planning before we can say it's ready to go into that sprint. That is so true.
Yeah.
You definitely do all those things. All the things you do, it's all preparing you for the sprint for sure. Yep. All right, so what is the interview question you all have? I don't know if it's the Monday. People always come to class on Monday drowsy. I don't know why you guys act like people at work. You know, even on Monday at work, people be dragging their feet to work like, Monday class is always like this. It's like people like not in the mood to like even want to answer questions or anything. But Monday should be a day of energized day. I love Mondays though. I feel like Mondays for me to come back like, yes, I'm ready to get things work. And the weekend, I think it's enough. But people don't want like weekend to be end. They just want the weekend to go on forever.
Okay, the first question I have. So, what's your management style as a Scrum Master joining a new team?
Ooh. So this question is, what is your
Management style? For a Scrum Master, you don't want to manage.
I know, right? I was like, what kind of question did it? Was this
Be like
someone asked you this in an interview and say, what is your management style as a Scrum Master joining a new team? I can see how some people still thinking Scrum Masters are managers, right? But what is the proper?
Saba, you are a Saba.
You can't hear that. You
The
can't
leadership, sorry.
One of you have to talk. Both of you are talking at the same time. So go ahead.
No, I said immediately I hear that the manage part, it's just off. I'll just be like, Scrum Masters don't manage. Like that's the first thing for me.
Yeah, but that's true. You start politely and say, "Oh, this is a very good question." But so far in my experience, don't say, Scrum Master don't manage. If you saw that, they'll be looking at you like, why is this person so rude? Don't talk like that. Instead, just say, oh, so far in my experience, I'm able to support team, and this is how I've supported the team. You see how you can change it that way and still come off as, yes, you know your stuff, without saying.
So it can't be a trick question.
It can be maybe a trick question, but the way how you professionally correct them is important too. You can just say, oh, this is not the way you Scrum Masters are not managers, or you can't say managers. You can't talk like that either. You be like, oh, this is a good question, but in my experience, this is how I've supported the team. And this is my style in helping a new agile team when I've worked. Then you now give your own answer. You know. So it's very important you do that. Maybe they want to know if the leadership style, so you can give a disclaimer and talk about your leadership style. Yeah, definitely. You talk about your leadership style. That's definitely you're right. You're right. That's definitely leadership question. Yeah. For sure. That's definitely a leadership question. But what is okay, let's go back and do the three things we always do, right? So what is the key word for this interview question? Leadership style, for sure. The key word for this question, although they put like, what is your management style as a Scrum Master joining a new team? It doesn't matter if it's a new team, an old team, an existing team. they just want to see your own style of leadership. Like, how do you lead, and how do you guide people, and how would you manage team, right? So that's heavy on your own style, your own way of working. So that's the keyword. So why would they ask you this in an interview?
Yeah, they want to see how, like, if you are, for example, empathetic to your team, if you are a scrum master who will come you and will follow the pace of your team members, you don't want to force it, or you don't want to
Be
bring your
simple.
own idea.
Be
Yeah, you
simple.
want to be simple. Yeah.
No, I'll say your answer should be simple, right? Because remember, when we start talking about different assumptions or why things might be asked, you have to be simple with your answer. What are some reasons why you might be asked this in an interview? Anyone know?
One of the answer probably is a team that is new to Agile.
Yeah,
So
you're
they
right.
want you to-
Looking at this question, I can already tell that the particular team that you are interviewing for, since they said new, that means that they are possible there's a new team, right? But thinking about us, the Scrum Master, what are they looking for in a Scrum Master in this case?
somebody who has patience.
Yeah, someone that basically is considerate, right? And is able to guide and support a new agile team, right? That's one assumption. Another assumption might be that they've had a scrum master in the past that was not patient. Maybe that was saying the scrum guy say this, the scrum guy say that. Maybe they were by the book and they were not interested in helping the team, right? That might be another reason why. Someone said that servant leader. That is true. That is true. Servant leader. Maybe they want someone that truly have the agile mindset, right? You know, just coming here to come say, be the agile police, where every second you want to correct everybody every minute, but someone that actually is able to meet the team where they are and go from there, right? They want to know your understanding of your role. Yes, like they want to see too if you understand. Binta said that. They want to see that if you understand in your own role, like what do you do, how do you lead a team, what are some of your behavior. Remember, when they're asking anything around a management style, how you lead a team, how you support a team, when they say Scrum Master, you should focus on you. Don't be talking about the team or give a scenario about the team. They want to know about you, yourself. So when you give it your scenario or you're trying to give a different your answer, you have to ensure that that's tailored around you, your style, your way of working, the kind of mindset you have around working with agile teams. So you're going to be heavily focused on you. So that's how you answer. That's how you for sure you answer that one. And how you support your team and how you're empathetic and you are as a Scrum Master. Yeah, you're right. All of that are possible scenarios why they might ask you this in an interview. And this also will tell you what about this company. If I go to an interview and a company asks me this question, what does that tell you around the mindset of this company? What does that tell you? It tells you that.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I want to hear. Go ahead.
That they're not fully agile environment.
Not really. They might be like a very high matured. This actually tell me that it's a very nice, highly matured company. Maybe the team you might work for might not as matured yet, but that does not mean the whole company is immature. So if you go to an interview and a company is asking you this question, that means that it's a very good company. They care about the well-being of their team, right? Because they're asking questions towards seeing the kind of person you are before they even bring you into their company. For me, if someone asks me that tells me that, oh, these are very good people. These are very good company that cares about not just work getting delivered, but also actually care about the people they have in their company. Because that one bad Scrum Master can mess up the whole damn place. And if they're assessing and asking about your style and your way of working, But that's powerful, you know. Because sometimes those questions you are being asked in interview, it's a heavy clue about the company's cultures and the company way of working, and that can also help you know, oh, this is a good fit or not. That's why whenever people call me for consultation online, I always ask them, like, oh, what are some questions you asked in the interview? What type of question did they ask you? So that people will get their job for the first time, and they're like, oh, Aisha is my next week is my first day. I'm doing this consultation because I don't know what I'm going to be meeting. And like, oh, what are the type of questions they asked you in your interview? What are the type of questions you were asked? Did you remember anything? They're like, oh yes, I remember. Most of the time, people always remember their question, by the way. And they'll tell me all these questions. I'm like, oh yeah, then I can at least give you an idea how that place may be. Just from those questions they ask you. You know. Alright, so how would you answer this in an interview? Oh wow, it's already 9:22. Wow, this time fly by today a lot. Ooh. I guess we're having so much fun in this class. So how can we, I guess it's going to be this the only question we do today. So how can you answer this in an interview? If you're asked, what is your leadership style? And how do you manage new Scrum team? How would you answer this? And if you're online, you can put on the chat so I can read your answer out. How would you answer this? Anyone? Nobody want to answer this question? What about people online? Nobody want to answer this on the chat? You all can also participate on the chat, so you won't just be listening. Anyone want to answer? Or everyone is already still sleeping? It's not that late for you guys to be sleeping. Anyone would like to answer? Yes, no, no, yes. This is actually a very simple interview question that I think you all can able to answer this in a heartbeat. All of you can answer this. And you don't even have to give like...
Recording in progress.
Oh, I just forgot I didn't record.
Recording stopped.
Anyway, it's already recorded on the YouTube. Recorded on the... I said YouTube. On my live. So you guys can go watch there. Yeah, you're right. It's actually recorded on live. That is true. Because some things we don't record that we don't even have to record anyways. I always go with my servant leadership and then elaborate on it. Okay, so tell me about servant leadership. That you guys always want to talk about servant leadership. So what is the servant leadership? So how would you answer this in an interview? No one want to answer? Everyone tired? It's too early for you guys to... It's only Monday yet. Huh? What did you say? I should tell. You guys always want to be dashing answers. Like I should tell, right? Nobody want to say it, right? Alright, it's fine. I know we don't have enough time, so I have to give the answer so we can able to drop. So when you are asked this, we already talk about the keyword, different assumption we might have for this. So when you are asked what is your management style as a Scrum Master joining a new team, always say like, oh, when it comes to supporting new team, you don't say manage, right? Even though the question said manage, then you can change your answer to the right vocabulary, right? Or when it comes to supporting teams, so far in my experience, what I've always done, what have helped me, always you personalize it to you, to your experience, right? When you always say what I've done in my experience, or what I do currently in my job, what I've done in the past, don't talk in the future, right? In the future, you didn't go to them yet. Or you're like, oh, when I come to your company, this is what I will do. No, don't answer interview question that way. You should always answer interview question in the current state, your current state of work, or the past. Don't ever speak on the future, because why? You don't know if they will carry you go in their future. You always talk on the now or the past. So I'll always will personalize my interview answer that way. Oh, when it comes to working with new team or supporting a new agile team, what I've always done is to meet the team at where they are. So I try to build relationship with them and understand what their agile needs through using survey, my one-to-one, and also the agile maturity assessments that we'll do for that particular team. So my natural leadership style is to live a open, safe communication with the team, whereby the team are able to understand that they're in an environment that's safe for them to discuss and bring up anything, and also know that when one person fail, we all fail, and when one person succeed, we all succeed, and create that safe, emotional, intelligent space for my overall team. Celebrate little win, encourage taking risks, coach team in adapting to change, and also empowering my team through creating different team building activities. And based on the results on the assessment that I've done, will determine if I have to train the team, or if I have to coach the team, or if I have to mentor them to better improve their skills. Based on all these different data I will gather will help me determine how I can support and guide this new team towards delivery. But my leadership style is so simple. I always like to work in the pace of the team and also meet them at where they are and coach them and guide them through that. So you see, that's simple. That's how you can answer that, right? You personalize it to you, what you would do, and at the same time, because there's not just one fit way to help a new team. Based on the kind of people you are working with will determine how you can switch things around. If they are the offshore team, onshore team, all these different things can affect, right? Also, the product or the solution they're trying to build, all that can also affect their delivery, their mindsets, right? If they've ever worked in the agile space or if not, or if they've also worked in that company for so long and people are pushing agile to them. So all these different question and answers and surveys you will do and assessments will help you determine the different approach you take. And very important to also say that I will slowly adapt to this, introduce these trainings or these changes to them. And also using the retro and leveraging the retro as a means to introduce new and best practices to the team. Everyone got it?
Yeah, that was beautiful, Aisha.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question, if that is okay.
Yes, go ahead.
When you talked about agile maturity assessment, for some reason that stuck in my head. And is there an actual maturity assessment, like, I don't know, process?
They have companies that have like this. I forgot one of the one website. I think Kanban style or what's their name. They have this list of questionnaire you will ask a team when they are new. But I know my own company, our lead enterprise coach, they created one for all of the team that will ask for almost every new team. That's like our blueprint. We'll ask like, like some kind of question we have in there is that, have you been part of an agile team? Have you worked in the product model? And what is do you understand on rate agile from scale of 1 to 10? Your understanding on agile. Rate 1 to 10 your understanding on Jira. Rate 1 to 10 in your openness in discussing, being open in conversation, right? And it's all have the somewhat agree, somewhat disagree, those kind of survey questions, right? And also we have like, do you have team working agreements? All those, the definition of ready, definition of done, all those things we have in there. And also we have like questions to like, tell me how your openness towards agile. Tell me what are some things is this something that's pushed down on you? So all these different questions we ask, and we get each team to take it anonymous. And at the end, we'll now combine the result and see where we can rate the team. And based on that rating, we'll now determine the kind of trainings we provide for the team. And for the most part, for new agile teams, you will do all those assessments with them. It's really, really nice. And if you go to a company, you don't have one, then you, the Scrum Master, should help create at least 10 questionnaire to give to everyone the same. Especially for teams that have been claiming that they're doing agile for a while, it's always nice to see how aligned is the team. Like, how valuable is the Scrum ceremony to you? What one continuous improvement do you do or do you like? Or what's your intake on team peer programming? Oh, how ready is the product backlog for you before the sprint planning, right? Or do you look at your definition of done? Do you know what's in the definition of done? And do you know what's in the definition of ready? Do you have a working agreement? Did you participate in that working agreement creation? So I've done some kind of similar thing in the past for some teams, some company that I've been to. I'll create my own list of questionnaire and I give it to everyone anonymously when I'm new, just to further understand like everyone's point of view. And based on that will let me know how mature this team is. Because sometimes you hardly ever people tell you that, oh, my team is not matured. They will tell you that, oh, we are high performing, we are matured. And look at our metric. Our metric is so good and it's so perfect. But if you look at their ways of working, it's like, no. Maybe you guys are either manipulating the number or you don't know how to estimate. But you can clearly feel it. And that's where that survey will always comes in place and so helpful for you as the Scrum Master. You know? And based on that result, so you can even use it as a retro and ask questions without pointing name or even calling names, just to continue that transparency in within the team. It's actually really, really nice. Yep. Anyone else have any question before we drop? Oh, we're already 2 minutes over. I guess that's why. Is that why everybody have been sleeping? I'm teasing y'all. Have you all been listening or you all have been sleeping? Because I only saw two people on camera. Okay, you guys got it though?
Yeah.
Alright, online.
I appreciate these conversations.
You like it, right? I know that's like your favorite.
I appreciate that because it makes you think about like, okay, if she's talking like this and she's saying these things, like how do I make myself talk like that in an interview? Like I don't have to experience it, right? I'm listening to you and kind of grasping what you're saying, and I'm like, okay, you know, even if somebody like throws a ball at me, like I need to be referred back to your description and say, oh, she said that, so I can say this and this, like even if I don't know, right?
yeah. And you can go back and watch this video to learn and replay it, so this can also help.
So the good thing I learned today is to differentiate between definition of done and definition of
ready. Oh, I'm glad.
Water.
Aisha,
this is all about man and food, you know? About food. They just get it.
Yeah.
You are so right, man and food, I can't. No, it's funny. So when I used to teach my level 1, right, I will always use food to explain. Because one time someone asked me who is a Scrum Master, right? And I would define the regular definition. They get so confused. I was like, okay, what can I use to explain to this student that they will understand? So I was like, din. Restaurants. I was like, I use restaurants. They're like, okay, Aisha. All right. I said, do you go to restaurants? Yes, I love restaurants. I said, perfect. I was like, okay, let me give you an example of how you can visualize a Scrum Master, right? So like, imagine you going to a restaurant, right? We're doing like the metaphor thing here. You walk to the restaurant and you sat at your table and you have the host that will greet you, right? And the host, let's assume the host is the manager, right? Because the host is someone like the technical manager, because they're always just there doing their own thing, right? They'll greet you in and show everything is smooth, everything is fine. They go back to their host's table and mind their business, right? The hosts are always like that. So the next thing you do, who do you get that come to your table? Who comes to your table? The waiter, right? So the waiter, what does the waiter do? They take the book and a pen and do what? Take your order, right? So who is the waiter in this case? The product owner, the PO. The PO is the waiter, right? Because they're getting the order, right? They're getting the order based on what the PO, right? In this case, the waiter would determine what? What happened in the back? The cook, the chef. Right? Based on what the PO writes, which is the order, getting it from this customer, right? Oh, I want chicken, I want spaghetti, I want meat. Oh, but don't put salt, add pepper. So the waiter going back and forth, writing all of this thing back and forth. So based on what this product owner writes, which is the waiter, would determine what the chef will be cooking in the back. And who are the chef?
Developers.
The developers, right? The developer. Let's say now, and so let's say now we have the chef. They went and cooked the meal that nobody did. These people didn't ask for. Who show up next?
The manager.
The manager. And who is the manager?
Scrum master.
The scrum master, right? Because then the scrum master will go in and say, "Oh my God."
They will facilitate.
Yeah, they'll facilitate the discussion. They'll make sure everybody is okay. The chef at the back is not mad about to kill everyone because they already spend so much time prepping and cooking this meal, and like they're trying to like be in the middle, like okay, they're where the PO, the waiter, and the chef are not fighting, going back and forth, like saying, "Oh, you did the wrong one. Oh no, you cooked the wrong," like kind of thing. "Oh, I told you this. I told you they didn't want it salt. No, you didn't write that. It wasn't saying here." Then the manager will do what? "Okay, calm down, guys. It's fine. This have happened, but what can we do to make it better for our customer?" Powerful questions, right? What can we do to make this customer happy? Oh, maybe we can go back and ask what they truly want, right? And the PO is going back to the stakeholder. "Oh, this is what even you, sometimes the scrum master, the manager will go to the customer and say, "Oh, I'm sorry this happened, right? So what are some things we can do to make it better?" Or we can ask the waiter to go do it, right? Or if the waiter is so mad can't, we step in to want to do it. And then this time around, you see the manager very more involved, right? Okay, this is what they want. The manager might even be the one going to the chef at the back and say, "Okay, this is exactly what they want. They say they don't want this, they want that. This is how it should look like." And then now the next thing, you might even see the waiter now bringing that same new meal to the stakeholder, which is the customer. And the customer will be like, "Oh, is this?" Then the scrum master in this case will be so involved. Like, "Oh, are you happy with this order?" "Oh yes, this is exactly what I want." And then you go back between the chef and the waiter. "Are you guys okay? I understand we had this today. That's why you're going to do some kind of mini meeting, right? You will always do the mini meeting in the time because I've worked in restaurants, so I know." So at the end, you do that mini huddle, and then the manager will now lead that discussion too. And what is that? The retro, right? "Okay, this what happened. A customer ordered this meal. It looks like so and so. You, the PO, had the order wrong, and the chef cooked all of this. So going forward, we have to be very vigilant when these people are ordering. We have to ensure that we are not wasting food. We are not wasting our resources. We are not wasting our money. We try to increase the return of investment in our company, and let's ensure that we are communicating with one another. And maybe we can go as far as improving our communication system in the next sprint to adapt, right?"
So in
Right?
that case, would you refer to it as like the review from the customer?
I won't do even review for the customer yet until if we go back and give the customer the meal. Because remember, the customer already gave you the first review that is the wrong.
They got the meal and they were satisfied, so they're gonna give a review to say what happened, what was the solution, and was they happy. So they
I don't think that customer will give us. I wouldn't go back to the customer. That customer will not give us good review because that customer you already messed up.
People does online review, so you have some people, if they had a bad experience and the manager came in
And fix it.
and they give a review to say this happened, even though it was a bad experience, it turned out to be a good experience.
Yeah, that's fine. They can go back. We cannot remember the goal here is not to change the customer, right? We have to ensure our internal team is actually structured right. Why? Because we don't want to make the same mistake, right? So this happened to this customer. So for the next customer, our goal now as a Scrum Master is to ensure that we don't continue to make that same mistake. As I said, we can fail fast and learn from that mistake and adapt.
So we do retro.
Yes, you did the retro, and that's I know then we did the huddle. So that's how I used to explain it to people, and sometimes people get it after me explaining that with the restaurant.
You know, one point here, Aisha. In the restaurant, we also do daily stand-up.
Yes!
To be when you clock in, you talk about like, okay, today so and so find this section of the table.
Yes.
That section of the table.
Yes.
Blah blah blah, right?
Yes.
And then today you'll be doing this, and you'll at the end close. You have to clean certain areas. Blah blah blah. That's the daily stand-up.
Yeah. That's just some little. Sometimes I always will refer the restaurants concept to people that are new to the space, and they will always get it. I'm like, oh, I get it now. I get it. I get it. I'm like, yeah,
Honestly, does make a lot of sense. Just the way you break it down here for me. For us,
yeah,
I understand it a lot. Really.
definitely, definitely.
But you can relate that also in the hospital environment. The nurses
Yes,
and the doctors.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Team's
That's
on fire today.
I know, right? That's why I always say agile can be done anywhere. Agile can be done and adopted anywhere, you know. You just have to have the right mindset. And the mindset starts with us, right? Not just coaching or training people. We have to also show and model that good mindset and behavior. Because whatever we do, we impact everyone around us. Just like as a manager, as a leader, right? Whatever you do, that vibe will go over everyone within the team. That's why it's very important you practice what you preach. Don't just practice. Practice what you preach. Very important. Alright, with that, class end. I know you guys always don't want class to end. You guys want to talk and talk and talk till tomorrow.
They made the class fun towards the end of.
I know you guys I always have to chase you guys out of the class.
No, because you said they were sleeping or we were sleeping.
No, you guys all wait, because of course you guys heard about food and restaurants. You all woke up. Alright. Online people. Bye. See you all again on Wednesday. Have a good one. Bye everyone. Have a good
Okay.
one.
Okay, good night then.
Bye.
Everyone.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Bye online people too. Have a good one.